the cost of holding yourself back because the level you're on limits something that limits your actual business growth. It's a trap that we may all easily fall into.
Welcome to the Differently Aligned podcast for neurodivergent business owners. I'm Adina Levy. I'm an autistic ADHDer, business coach, speech therapist, professional educator, and multiple business owner. I support neurodivergent business owners to create businesses that are sustainable, enjoyable, impactful, profitable, and burnout free. I provide safe spaces for you to share with like-minded community who get it, me included. Everyone is welcome here, whatever your neurotype, gender, race, any other intersections and special, fantastic, unique things that make you, you are welcome here. This podcast is recorded on the Aboriginal lands of the Gadigal and Bidjigal people. I acknowledge the traditional owners, elders past and present, and I extend my respect to any First Nations people who are listening in.
It's the new financial year in Australia. I've been doing a lot of digging into my finances over the last financial year. I found some things that surprised me, some things that I had allowed myself not to look at in enough depth, which I'll be paying closer attention to over the coming year and into the future. And I found some surprises in my expenses. Now, while my business is a pretty lean online business, it's natural to expect that many of my expenses are going to go to software costs, which is totally cool. That's fine. What I didn't expect was that my software costs over the past 12 months would add up to more than $23,000 Aussie dollars. Still, that's a lot of money. So I spent a bit of time digging into these expenses and completely rethinking all of it. I pulled it all back. I started with the assumption of, if I was starting from scratch, what would I choose to spend my money on in terms of software, apps, platforms, all the tools that help me do my business. So while I've been thinking a lot about where I choose to spend my money, I realize I have a bit of a framework forming. I'm a framework kind of gal. And I have a framework, a way of filtering decisions when I'm thinking about which expenses to get myself into in my business, which expenses to say no to. I'm using the word expenses, but equally I could use the word investment. For the sake of clarity, I'll mostly talk about expenses, literally just money going out from your business. So I'm going to share the 6 filters that I run through when I'm thinking about, should I set myself up for this cost? They might be helpful for you as well, because really, if we're thinking about our expenses as investments in our business, an investment is money you put into something that you can expect to grow. So the idea should be that as you put money into your business for certain things, whether it's paying other people, paying for tools, paying for supplies, paying for rent, paying for products, whatever it is that you're spending money on, it should bring more money back to you. Sometimes it's very indirect, so it's very hard to measure. So the 6 filters that I think about are figuring out if this expense will free up time, if this expense will propel me forward rather than keeping me stuck, if this expense is about getting expert help, if this expense will streamline things, which is just a good, I'll put it like capital G, good, a good thing for so many other reasons. I think about if this expense is going to get me very clear on my next steps rather than fumbling and bumbling and eventually getting there. And really importantly, I think about if this investment or expense is going to, I have to use the word investment here, if it's going to free up the space to grow in the business. This could be emotional space, it could be practical space, it could be physical space, it could be time space. So I'm going to share a little bit more about each of these filters that I use. And then at the end, I'll tell you where I've landed on my software decisions at the moment. And before we go any further, I absolutely have to say, if you're listening when this goes live, my membership for neurodivergent business owners, the Neurodivergent Business Collective, is open until midday Sydney time on Friday, the 4th of July, 2025. This is my comprehensive, supportive, useful space full of resources, tools, templates, AI tools, community connection, and a lot of these reasons for investing in your business are very well likely going to be met with the Neurodivergent Business Collective membership. I will say it's also super flexible. Membership is monthly, so you can join for a month, see how it suits you, and I hope you'll stay. But I really encourage people to be there as long as it's useful for you. If you're listening after the doors have closed, still go to the link in the show notes and you can hop on the waitlist and I'll keep you updated when we open up next. But if you're listening before the doors close on the 4th of July, go and check out the Neurodivergent Business Collective right now and see if it's a fit for you and where you're at and the kinds of next steps and support you need in your business. So let's talk about these 6 filters. This idea of filter 1 is freeing up time. If you spend money on this thing, whether it's an app or a person who can support you, will it free up more time for you? You might hire an admin person or a virtual assistant to handle client inquiries so that you're not finding yourself always context switching, or you're actually able to free up more of your time to do the work that you trained for and that you're really passionate about. Sometimes freeing up time might be about spending money on a particular app where the result is pretty much done for you. Maybe it's a website template. So rather than setting everything up yourself, you pay a little bit more money, but you just get closer to that end result much faster. The second filter for thinking about, is this a worthy investment, is all about getting you unstuck, which is something I am obsessed with. I am super passionate about helping other business owners get unstuck. If this expense or investment is going to propel you forward rather than keeping you in indecision, that's going to be a good use of your money. So sometimes this is about investing in programs, education, or even sometimes it's about investing time, even in watching, free YouTube videos, listening to my podcast, getting input from others and learning from others to help you take your next step rather than staying in stuckness. Another brilliant way that investments can help propel you forward is when you get some accountability. And this can be kind of peer accountability too. It doesn't have to be from a coach. This is my next point, is where I talk about coaching a little bit more. In my Neurodivergent Business Collective, there's sort of 2 ways that we do this. So we've got a Slack chat where you can join in and share things like what you're working on, get feedback, ask questions, share wins, all of that sort of thing can help you feel that there's a group of people backing you and cheering you on, and that can help you propel yourself forward. It's also a great place where you can come and ask a question, and I'm in there, but also the other members are in there supporting each other to get clear on a decision, maybe a pricing decision, a naming decision, a decision to stop something or start something. That's what we're there for. We also have body double sessions, and these are kind of like co-working. If you haven't done body doubling before, it's so powerful. And honestly, I run them and I get so much value out of them myself. We turn up on Zoom fortnightly for 2 hours. Whoever wants to come just drops in, and we spend about 5 minutes at the beginning, the middle, and the end, checking in with each other, just sharing, this is what I'm going to be working on, a little bit of human connection as well. And then we dive into focus. Then we just start doing our own work, whatever we're working on. We come back together, we share the progress. We then go back into our work mode. And, sometimes I will say it's not all work. A lot of us like to use that time to do kind of boring admin or sometimes really big things like big proposals and so on. And other times people use it to fold the washing or to go and have a shower or to eat their lunch and get the accountability and the cheer squad around that. And that's so human and important too. So it doesn't always have to be a financial investment to find this kind of accountability, but it's certainly a part of what I offer in the collective. The third filter for deciding if a potential investment or expense is going to be worthwhile in your business is about getting expert help. Now, I kind of see myself as a Jill of all trades. I've often sort of said that about myself. I like to learn a lot. I like to know all the pieces that go on in my business. I build my own website. I do my own graphics. I edit my own podcasts. I do, kind of everything. You might well tell me I should get more assistance for that sort of first point, freeing up more time, which, by the way, I am now. But anyway, that's a story for another day. One part of my business model is that I do spend quite a bit of money on meta ads. You might have come to me or you might have found me through meta ads, in which case, yay, maybe they're working. And that's how I get to kind of connect with more people out there in the world who might benefit from my support. I've upskilled myself. I propelled my skills forward big time by doing a course with the Digital Picnic. And I've invested a lot of time as well to learn to manage my own meta ads. And recently I decided to have a one-on-one coaching session with one of the team members at the Digital Picnic. And it was so useful. I don't often pay for coaching. And every time I do, I am absolutely floored by how many shortcuts it helps me take. Rather than doing the long, winding, self-learning thing, which is my MO, sometimes I just don't have the time or the funds to just figure it out myself slowly. Getting an outside perspective, especially from someone who is more expert than you at that thing, is just so, so important. And this is something I love to do for my coaching clients. I only take on a very small handful of one-on-one coaching folks at a time, and I'm quite full up at the moment. I'm not really even moving through the waitlist because my wonderful people keep signing up for more coaching blocks, which is, it's a real honor. And, I want to help lots of people, which is why I created the Neurodivergent Business Collective, because I want to have a space where I can share with so many more people all the ideas in my head, all the frameworks, all the encouragement, all the ideas that I can share on a more kind of general basis to help neurodivergent business owners have a much more easeful, profitable, aligned for you business. And my capacity isn't there to have lots of one-on-one sessions. I would burn out. That wouldn't be easeful or aligned for me. So that's the whole thing. It's all very cyclical, isn't it? So whether this expert help is like a one-off session with somebody in a very niche specific area that you're seeking support in, or whether it's more ongoing coaching support, getting expert help will just propel you forward big time. So that sort of peer accountability is nice and helpful. And getting someone who really knows what they're talking about right in your ear, in your eyeballs, or giving you the tools and suggestions, that can just be indispensable. So let's move on to number 4. The 4th filter is about streamlining things. I have a whole course about streamlining your business. I'll link it in the show notes. It's an utter passion area of mine. My husband put it beautifully. He said something about how I spend a lot of effort making things effortless. So, I'm obsessed with building systems in my business and helping others as well. Removing friction is the starting point. So this is really important when I think about the apps that I'm choosing or what I'm going to be using into the future. I have to think about it in terms of what is going to be most streamlined. Every time you have to open a new app or an automation breaks, which I know it happens fairly often for me right now because I have a lot of automations going on and quite messy systems between all the different things that I'm using. And I haven't had a lot of time lately to improve my systems or to fix things that have broken. And honestly, when something breaks, that's when I invest my time to actually improve that thing. I don't usually put it back together just how it was. I almost always take another step further to go, I'm going to improve that further. And the interesting thing is, once you streamline a system in your business, when it's done well, it becomes invisible to you. So it can be hard to notice the impact of your efforts when you have been working to automate things, connect things up, systematize things, checklist things. And that's the beauty of it. So I can always rant and get very excited about streamlining and how helpful that is, but really, especially when thinking about the tools and systems you use in your business, it's always worthwhile, something that is more streamlined. The 5th filter is something that's going to get you clear next steps. So it's a little different to that propelling you forward idea. The propelling you forward is about getting unstuck, just having any momentum to just get something done, move forward, do something, change something, try something. Giving you clear next steps, that's about learning a process or taking leaps in directions that you might not be familiar with, but you don't have to figure things out yourself. One example of this is I have quite a few members and clients who are working on building their presence and their voice and their profile out there in the world, building a following and eventually releasing courses, webinars, that kind of thing. That's what I do. And so when somebody comes to me saying, I want to start selling webinars, I go, great, cool. Here's the template. Here's the checklist. Here's the webinar where I teach you the process to go through so that you're able to get to that end point of being able to sell your webinars out there in the world. The opposite of that would be, and this happens, this might be you, if I'm calling you out, I hope you'll join us in the Neurodivergent Business Collective so we can fill in the gaps with the next steps. So the opposite of having all those next steps is someone who is so passionate about a topic. They're really willing to chat about it. They're willing to share. They're willing to teach. They record something. They spend ages on the slides. It looks beautiful. It's recorded. It's done. And then who buys it? Maybe no one, maybe not many people. It's so common that people have this great idea they want to sell and it will be brilliant. But the thing is, people need to know about it. There is a pathway There's more than one, but there's a general pathway to selling webinars out there in the world. And that includes having people know about you and get to know you and respect your thought processes and your authority on that topic. So that's just one example of how I provide the clear next steps. But whatever you're doing, wherever you're investing your money, it's really important that if something can help you take a clear pathway to the destination where you want to go, you go follow that pathway. You don't have to figure it out on your own. That's going to save you time, energy, effort, so much. Oh my goodness. The final filter, and this has been deeply important to me as I think about shifting apps and platforms and what this is going to look like. It's not just about cost cutting. It's really about what is going to help me grow into the future. What is going to free up the space to grow in my head, in my energy, in my time, and quite literally in the systems that I'm using. One example of this not working is there are some platforms, I'm thinking it might be Squarespace, maybe what I'm thinking about. I might have to fact check me. There are quite a few platforms out there where you can send mass emails to your email list, but they cap the number of emails you can send. And sometimes that cap is so low. So it might be how many you can send each day or each month. And I've had clients before who have felt held back by that limit based on the tier that they're on in that app. And it's held them back from actually sending helpful emails to their audience, people who wanted to hear from them and to learn from them. But they actually reduced the frequency of sending emails because they were worried about hitting that email cap. Now, the cost to go up a tier to be able to unlock many more, I think it was like many more thousands of emails that you could send each month, that cost kind of on paper is actually not that much more. But the cost of holding yourself back because the level you're on limits something that limits your actual business growth. It's a trap that we may all easily fall into. And I know myself when I'm thinking about, oh gosh, my digital platform costs are like $23,000. I start by thinking in this cost-cutting way. And I quickly found myself limiting my opportunity to grow with the combination of solutions I was looking at in that first instance when I was doing a real kind of knee-jerk response to it all. Another example of that would be if you have a course platform and it limits you to 3 courses on the level that you're on, and you have your 3 courses and you really want to make a 4th, but you don't do it because you'd have to pay more to unlock that next level of access. Now, I'm not saying it's always worth spending money. I'm not telling you to go and throw your money around just because it meets one of the criteria I've said here. These filters are there to help you weigh up the decision. And sometimes you just don't know. You just have to take a gamble. You just have to have a guess. Chuck your money into the hat and see what happens, and then assess the result. So I said I would let you know what I'm going to do with my apps. In the next few months, I am going to move to Go High Level. I'm just learning that platform now, and it's going to be a big, big, big change. It's going to take a lot of work on the back end of my business to shift everything over there eventually. It's going to be a staged process. And I finally, if you have been listening for a while, you know I haven't had a virtual assistant or an assistant for quite a few months. And I finally decided that needed to change. So I've just hired somebody new and they started today. And I'll say they just helped me get a really good start on this migrating to Go High Level project. And I'm very excited at the prospect of listening to my own advice. This first filter, spending money on getting support to free up my time so that I can kind of coordinate the project, but I don't have to do all the importing, exporting, data cleaning, all of that stuff. So that's exciting. Depending on where I land on all my decisions, I might end up saving something like $11,000 a year on the platforms that I'm using compared with moving it to Go High Level. We'll see. Watch this space. It's going to be, very much a staged process. So I really want to build this carefully, and maybe I'll share this in a future podcast episode. But what I definitely want to make sure I do is pretty much rethink everything that I bring over. I have built some very, very complicated systems across my 2 businesses. I've got a lot of products, a lot of offers, a lot of links, a lot. It's just a lot. And I want to take this opportunity to simplify things big time. So I'm not just moving things over. I'm using it as a really cool kind of pivot point for me to figure out what stays and what goes. And I can tell you, top of the list of what stays is my Neurodivergent Business Collective, because I love this space. I love the folks that I'm supporting. I love the community, the connection. I love sharing this. I love hopping on and doing webinars, tutorials, sharing podcasts, all of this. Oh my goodness, I love it. So I hope you'll join me. If the Neurodivergent Business Collective sounds like the right next step for you, I might be able to help you free up time. I might be able to get you unstuck and propel you forward. I might be able to give you some expert help on some of the areas that you need support with in your business. I might be able to help you streamline things in your business and give you a framework for that and tools as well, and heaps of tutorials. I might be able to help you get your clear next steps, your pathway to wherever you're headed next in your business. And I really hope that with all the encouragement, support, tools, and everything I provide, I hope that I'm freeing up space for you to grow as well. So go check out the Neurodivergent Business Collective, join us for a month, and maybe stay longer if it's right for you. I really hope so. I can't wait to meet all the new folks who are coming into the collective. And honestly, this is why I open the doors for a while and then close the doors, because I can't do it all at once. And I had someone ask me this, so I thought I'll just share the answer here. I can't do launch energy and at the same time give everything that I need to my members. So I'm really excited to continue supporting our existing members, meet the new folks, and keep building there. But anyway, come and join if it's right for you. Go check out the link in the show notes for the Neurodivergent Business Collective, and I will catch you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening. Get in touch with me on Instagram. You'll find me there, neurodivergent.business. Have a beautiful day.